involved, Pranab Da, is also with me. Rajdeep, your fondest memories. It was very sad that Pranab Mukherjee had been ailing, towards the end. There is a sense of sadness across party lines, across the many people who knew him, closely. You interviewed him more than once and had been a close observer of him, his politics, and him as the individual over many decades.
That's right, Shiv. The fact is, one of the last links with the Indira Congress has left us. Pranab Mukherjee was a great constitutionalist. He was a great believer in parliamentary democracy, parliamentary politics, and was a consensus builder. And really, over this long career that he had, except the Home Ministry, every major portfolio, defense, finance, external affairs, was held by Pranab Mukherjee at some stage or the other. He was even deputy chairperson of the Planning Commission when Narasimha Rao was the Prime Minister. He was really a thesaurus, an encyclopedia on the Constitution and on parliamentary norms and procedures. Shiv, he wasn't a mass leader, he wasn't someone who you could call was even a pan-Bengal leader, but what he was a consensus builder in the politics of parliament. I think whenever the Congress party found itself in a difficult situation, they turned to Pranab Da. He was a crisis manager because he had political networks that he had built over a long career with politicians in every party. They respected Pranab Da. They respected his advice. They respected his ability to find a solution. He was a problem solver, Shiv, and therefore I think he will be much missed. I know that when he was Rashtrapati, he missed the hurly-burly of politics. He was a consummate politician. You could go, Shiv, at midnight to his house and he would talk politics with you. In fact, he would be up till 1, 2 a.m. in the morning, either reading or talking politics, and then would go for a bath, as he once told me. He said his bath was his final act after he had finished a day of tough political negotiation. So a remarkable personality, particularly for his sheer durability. Started politics in the late 60s in Bengal and was a politician for almost 50 years. Quite a remarkable political career, and we will miss Pranab Da. Whenever one wanted to understand something that was happening around us, you turn to Pranab Da for understanding the situation. If it was an ordinance that the government had moved, or if there was a confrontation that needed resolution, you turn to Pranab Da to look for solutions.
Senior journalist Javed Ansari also with us. He's tracked the Congress for years very closely as well. How is Pranab Mukherjee going to be most remembered? Consensus builder, a man who worked within the Constitution, a figure of admiration across party lines. How will he most be remembered according to you, Javed? Okay, I'll come back to Javed in just a bit. Rajdeep, coming back to you, for someone whose public life spanned so many decades, and I know this is going to be a bit of a tough question because I imagine there may be many answers, but what would you say are Pranab Da's greatest hits, if I could call it that, his greatest moments or, his most memorable moments in public life? Be it political situations or problems that he solved, or when he stepped up?
I think there are a couple that come to mind, Shiv. One was the Indo-US nuclear agreement, where he worked very closely with Prime Minister Manmohan Singh in crafting a very difficult alliance, in a way, a very difficult agreement as it was at that time, but managed in the end using statecraft, using, as I said, his negotiation skills, working closely with Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh. They had a great deal of mutual respect for each other, and therefore I think that is one achievement. Then, of course, becoming the President of India. At the end of the day, when you've had a 50-year career and you then are chosen as President of India, you've got to see it as an achievement. Eventually, of course, the fact that a BJP government gave him a Bharat Ratna, I think in a sense shows that Pranab Mukherjee was able to rise above the political divides. He was in a sense a politician made for this era of coalition, and some would say the best Prime Minister India never had, particularly for the coalition era. Both he and Narasimha Rao I think were the two politicians who had the ability to craft a kind of politics where even minority governments could function effectively. I think he played a crucial role between 2004 and 12 before he became president in keeping the coalition government going along with Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh. So he deserves a huge amount of credit for his ability to craft, as I said, agreements like the Indo-US Civil Nuclear Agreement, Shiv.
Okay, very, very interesting. The Indo-US nuclear deal, many others, which we're going to list out for you here on India Today. Rahul Srivastava, our National Affairs Editor, also with us. Rahul, a long-standing parliamentarian, member of parliament, not quite seen as a mass leader, but a man who many turn to, even from within his own party. And, the troubled relationship with the Congress is something that we'll see, a little later. But as far as him being a troubleshooter,